Hello and welcome back to my blue outfit from last week. We are back at Homeschool together. Thank you for joining us. We told you we were going to batch record a couple episodes last week.
Listen, it's been a busy fall.
That's if they made it to the end of the video, and we know you make it to the end of the video. Because that's when the jokes really come. So this week we were talking about the Persians, obviously continuing to cover the this Mesopotamian region, and now all of a sudden starting the greater Mesopotamian region. Persians kind of emerging in not the Iraq area where Tigris and Euphrates are, but more into the Iranian area, and so then moving across Mesopotamia and even into the kind of the Middle East, Turkey, and as we found out at the end, getting all the way to the Greeks. So it was a teaser. My daughter was like, "Oh my gosh, we're talking about the Greeks. Are we going to study the Greeks next week? No. How about the week after? No. Yeah. 2 more weeks, kid. We'll wait for it.
She's very excited about the Greeks.
So our focus this week, and what the curriculum actually focused on, the history quest, was a little bit of the battles, some key battles, which was kind of funny. It's like you talk about this whole civilization of the Persian Empire, and there's actually a focus a lot on the battles between the Greeks at the end, and it was just kind of funny because
they kind of played second
you spend a little bit of time actually just talking about the Greeks, and it was kind of funny. Like our daughter was like, "Oh, we're talking about the Greeks now." I'm like, "Yeah, this is a teaser, kid. Teaser." And then we also talked a little about famous rulers, Darius and Xerxes. We have a couple recommendations for books here, kind of fun things for you to think about. So let's get into it.
Yeah.
We'll start here. We're not going to showcase this one too much right now because we're going to do it as a spine for another week. But this is When on Earth.
When on Earth.
So it's a nice little history book. I like it because it does these kind of playful. Actually, did I open right to the Persian Empire?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we'll just show you quickly, and it kind of gives you a view of where they were on a map, and then some interesting information. So this is one of the spines I believe in the curriculum. But
pairing this with the Usborne Encyclopedia book was really helpful because the Usborne did the whole coverage of the Persians and their kind of rise and to the end. This one has kind of like a numbered system where it's pointing to essentially different major movements in the Persian, existence. So when they were breaking up into a couple smaller little empires, and then they were unified under Cyrus the Great, I believe, and then they moved across and then they took over the Assyrians, and then the Babylonians, and then they moved over into the Middle East right around, the next week I think will be the Hebrews and the Phoenicians. So when they took over that area, and then they moved into Anatolia, which is modern day Turkey, and then right up until the Greeks. And the numbering kind of follows that. So you kind of see the progression of their movement and what they were able to accomplish, and, kind of the major movements and stuff. So it was really, really cool. I like this book, but we'll talk more about it, I think, at another time when we kind of showcase it.
Yeah, but this was a good one for the Persians this week.
So speaking of key battles.
This came out of the Amazon sale. If you all were on our Facebook group, you heard about the Amazon sale, and we gave lots of great links there.
So we know there were 3... there's a lot of battles, but there were 3 big battles between the Persians and the Greeks. And I'm going to butcher one of them. Salamis, if I'm right, was the ocean battle, which was the great naval battle. I think that was in the second 300 movie. And then obviously the Battle of Marathon, which was very famous. And then Thermopylae, which is the story of the Spartans at Thermopylae at the Hot Gates.
So this is a super cool book, you guys.
And so what's really, really
Battles that changed history. It's a new DK Smithsonian book, and it's awesome.
So Ariel picked this up like last week, and it arrived. She goes, "This is really cool." I go, "Wow, that's really cool." And then I go into the Persian study that week, and I go, "Wow, they're focusing on these 3 battles a lot. Maybe I should check that book out." And lo and behold, the first 3 battles of this book are the 3 battles, or the 2 of the 3 battles that are covered in your curriculum for this week. So that would be they have the marathon, and then they have the sea battle. Yeah.
Here's Thermopylae.
Yeah, this is Thermopylae. So this is the one they didn't cover, but they covered Marathon here, the Battle of Marathon right there, and then they covered the naval battle, which was the second one. So that was covered in your history hop for this week as well.
This is a very neat book to take with you throughout history.
I do not think this is at a 1st or 2nd grade level.
Not at all.
Definitely not.
I got this book for him, actually, because I know he likes to read about this
stuff. I like the military history stuff, so it's kind of interesting. But what was really cool with it, I said, hey, let's lean into it. So actually there was a really nice, and we'll cut into a little bit of our artwork here. Would you take my pictures out? Okay, cool.
Here we go.
We'll just jump to it. And so they were talking about the battle of we're doing this on the fly, guys. So in detail, they actually talked about the Battle of Marathon.
It's neat. They talk about like where the troops were and things.
Yeah, right here. They have troop positioning and troop movements.
So even though this is more detail than at a first or second grade level, it's really neat because it gives you as the educator a lot of background information about the battle, and you can kind of explain like how it worked, the strategy.
So there we were, my daughter and I, at our parent partnership, drawing up battle plans of the Battle of Marathon.
Like how did this all happen?
Yeah, we did it together.
And you know, how were they successful?
We drew it together. So I would draw a piece, and I would say, okay, now it's time to put your triangles. Okay, let's put the Persian triangles. Let's put the Greek triangles. And it was really cool. And then we were talking about, where the movements were, what type of things they put into place, and essentially how they lost the battle. Right. The Persians did. And then we paired that, and we'll jump a little bit into the videos because it all kind of goes together. There's a great channel called Kings and Generals, and Ariel will put the link down below. And they do thousands of videos about different famous battles, and they had Marathon in there. And they actually show the movements across the board like it's kind of a war game type of scenario. And they actually show you the movements, and they're talking about what's happening at certain moments. And they formed the crescent formation, and then they gave, and then they flanked them on the other sides. And so you're talking about it, and we were drawing it, and then all of a sudden I showed her the video when we were done, exactly how it happened. And then we went back, and I had her look at her drawing and say, okay, now tell me back what happened. And then remember when she came home,
I said, hey, okay, so this is how they happened.
You need to go, and as the war college here in the Booza household, and I said, you need to go teach your mother about the Battle of Marathon.
So
and
she was able to talk me through, like, this was the strategy of who moved where. And it was interesting, I think, from like a logic standpoint, from her to say, like, okay, this is these people's motivations, and this is why they chose to do what they did, and really understand it. And because the week focused on those key battles, it was kind of appropriate to look at this and go, oh, okay, how did that work?
Well, the curriculum left off one battle, and I think they're going to bring it back up. But, if you have a little bit of an older learner, or you have a husband that's coming along with you, and he wants to read something, Frank Miller's 300. So if you've watched the movie 300, also known as Digital Abs,
beautiful digital
abs. I will not deny that those are beautiful digital abs. I will not do my Gerard Butler.
No, don't do it. It's really bad.
It's really bad. They know I have one, so they're laughing right now. They go, they know he has one, and it's really bad.
Really bad.
So 300. So the movie that Schneider made, 300, was based off of Frank Miller's graphic novel. And you can pick this up. You don't have to buy a copy of this. I own a copy of it. I actually lost a copy of it because I gave it to someone to read, and I bought another one. For me, it's one of my favorite graphic novels. Very violent, a little bit of sexual stuff in here, so you have to be aware of that.
This is not appropriate for kids.
I did not read this to my daughter, but I might have shown certain scenes, like just from the pictures, just fine. Oh, hey, take a look at this. But I did not read this to her.
And we did watch a couple of clips. This is a very specific clips where Xerxes was talking to the Greeks and stuff.
And I told her, listen,
none of this is real.
First of all, he was not the guy from Love Actually, and he was not 20 feet tall and carried on.
But it was, what was cool though about it was to show those couple of scenes that were safe for her to watch. And to discuss though why would they show Xerxes at 20 feet tall, right?
Yeah, right.
Because they were trying to make the statement
destroyer of worlds,
right. And so
you can see, and what's really beautiful in a lot of the scenes from the movie are when they slow down to this hyper slow motion. You think, wow, that looks like a painting, and it would be a scene from the book. He did the wink and a nod from that. So this is just a great book. If you have a husband who wants to enjoy it, you can get this from the library. Check it out from the library. Give it to your husband.
And then you can sit and watch the movie as adults with the digital.
Unless you're sitting there, moms, and you're like, I remember that movie. And you can go ahead and check this out. You can very carefully, drinking your tea in the morning, looking through, 300.
I think it's cool because it shows like this was a real historical event, and here's how somebody made something in fiction, and they accentuated different aspects of it.
Hyper stylized.
To bring out different things. So it was really cool way to talk about storytelling. I think that was one of the most valuable pieces of it for us.
Showing a couple clips from the movie was pretty cool too, and so something to look forward to. Frank Miller is famous, did a long stretch of Batman. I think that was his version of Batman helped inspire Christopher Nolan for his Batman movies. So kind of a nice little
kind
thing
of a
there.
fun little bit of the Greeks.
Yep.
And then talking about
Art and
yeah,
it goes
bending reality.
highly stylized art goes to this week when we were doing the artist, the artist of the world that we've been reading.
Yeah, the 13
artists. Yeah.
Kids should know.
This week was on Andy Warhol, and so we had a little bit of artwork and painting. And my daughter was asking me, "Daddy, why am I painting soup cans?" And I said, "That's a good question. That's art. That's art." And Andy did a lot of that type of like
Yep.
ironic, mass-produced pop art, and that was his thing. We looked at a bunch of Andy Warhol stuff, and she was confused. And I showed her a
Yeah.
picture. I showed her a picture of him, and she was even more confused. And I said it was a strange time, sweetie.
We did it. This wasn't, I think, our favorite week with art, but if you come across an artist that just doesn't click with your kiddo, then you can always just choose another artist. I don't think it's like the end of the world. But now she knows about multicolored soup cans.
Multicolored soup cans.
And we're not like super well versed in art, so we're trying our best to kind of share why this person was influential, why their work is still being talked about. But sometimes I think because it's art, just like music, sometimes you connect with it and sometimes you don't. And she didn't really connect with this.
Not really, but she enjoyed it. I got her to do some coloring when I needed to do something else.
That's true.
So we talked a little bit about that. We talked about the videos a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it was a short week.
It was a short week again. Persians, I think we're just getting geared up for the big push to the Greeks, which is coming up. Next week, we're going to be talking about the Hebrews and the Phoenicians, which will be a nice little run there. We'll start to expand into the Mediterranean and moving through North Africa and starting to see kind of the seeds of Carthage and looking and saying, hey, there's Italy that hasn't started yet, and then talking about the Greeks in a couple of weeks. So I think we have Hebrews and Phoenicians, and then Mycenaeans, the Minoans and the Mycenaeans, and then we hit the Greeks. So stay tuned. You may see me in a blue shirt next week.